All right. Hello and welcome to the Heart of America Men's Lacrosse Media Day. I'm your host, Heart correspondent Reagan Harrell. Today we are excited to be joined by the Heart regular season champions, William Penn Statesman, with head coach Luke Christiansen and junior Breck Pazir. Coach Breck, thank you so much for joining us. How are y'all today?
Good. Doing great. Appreciate you having us.
Of course. Coach, year one in the Heart of America conference, and your team won the Heart regular season championship. How much did that mean to you and your program?
I think it was obviously a great accomplishment. The fact that, hey, we every day you walk by, a banner that says men's lacrosse, in our gym now, like that is meaningful, right? It's there forever. But it's also, it was a big lesson, for us of finishing the job. And there was a definite sour taste in our mouth where we knew that, we left a lot on the table and, we played our worst half of lacrosse statistically in the whole season. Like that's a fact. And I think that's stuck with everybody, that, hey, if you play one bad half of lacrosse, that can sour and kind of ruin an entire season.
Excuse me, Coach. Can you take a moment to introduce us to Breck and tell us what he means to the Statesman's men's lacrosse program?
Yeah. So, Breck, our junior attackman, he part of our leadership council this year. Obviously, great attackman and, one of our primary offensive weapons. He's led the country in scoring last year. As a freshman, led the country as far as freshman scoring as well. But I think the big thing this year is he's taken a big step as far as maturity and understanding how to quarterback the system. And so he's playing his best lacrosse. And I think kind of what we saw, as we were talking as a staff of, hey, what can we take away from scrimmages and early games? Because sometimes it's hard, right? With scrimmages and early games, like our early game, like the competition just wasn't, testing us. It's like, what can we take away from this compared to previous years? And where we saw like, hey, the trend from all of our fall scrimmages, all of our scrimmages, all of our early games is that Breck's quarterbacking the system on offense, right? He's leading, he's doubling his goal production with assists. And so that's a big step forward. And then more importantly, the one thing I always like to mention is, he's going to be an academic All-American as well, so sets a great example for the guys.
Absolutely, got to take care of business off the field if you're going to take care of business on the field. Breck, last year you were named Hart Player of the Year. You broke out in the NAI your freshman year, and your Offensive Player of the Year last year as well. What did those honors mean to you?
It means a lot. Just kind of show people like that I'm here for that position. I think a lot of kids kind of talk about all their goals and it's a lot of bark, not bite. And I've always grown up like if I'm gonna say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna try the best I can and just hold myself accountable to that. So I think growing up, setting some goals, saying you want to go to college and all kind of things like that, I think it just means more if you can actually show the people that you mean what you say. So that's kind of my stand on that.
Awesome. And last year, like we mentioned, was first year in the Heart of a, or I'm sorry, last year for the Heart, first year sponsored men's lacrosse. How much did you enjoy that first year playing in the Heart of America conference?
I enjoyed it. I think it gave us like a different look. I know some of the same teams came from the KCAC with us to the Heart, but we also added some different teams. Um, and then also having that automatic bye means a lot because if you take down the conference, you are for sure going to the tournament. Um, which I think that gives us a lot more motivation to kind of finish the year off strong.
Right.
And just punch our ticket to the Natty. So
Yeah, and look, last year y'all hosted the first ever Heart Conference tournament championship game, falling to St. Ambrose. How much did that game motivate you guys for the 2024 season?
yeah, it left a very sour taste, and I think a lot of our team's mouth. And consistency, I think for us is going to be key this year. Kind of depends on what team shows up, and I think we might have kind of filled our heads with misinterpretation after we beat them the first time.
Mm.
And I think it just goes to show like we have to show up every day, and the team needs to be there. It can't just be we're on today, off tomorrow. So
Coach, can you tell us a little bit about this year's team? Who's back from last year's championship game team, and who's really motivated, who's looked good in the offseason?
Yeah, so we literally bring back everybody. As far as production goes, we pretty much bring back everything. So offensively, we have Brett back, Wyatt Christensen's back at attack. He looks like he's taken a good step forward, and he led the country as far as freshman scoring goes, and he was top 5 in the country. Max Taylor is back at attack, and Jeff Cole as well. So they were both 30 plus point guys, and they're both back and both have taken really good steps forward and shown really good growth. Boston Romero was an All-American midfielder for us last year. He's back, and he's shooting better than ever. Tim Pennington, Eli Dillon, Kenny Bonney, Seth Reeder, a few other guys back in the midfield that have all, improved. And then I think where we've seen the biggest growth is in our defensive side of the ball. Eric Garrigan, our goalie, so last year was his first full season as a starter, and he played well, but I think there was some adjustment period. And this fall and spring, we've seen some real growth there, of where I think he's really at that point to where he's going to take over the defense and really show some growth. But then so defensively, we grew a lot, and that's where we kind of made the biggest additions. We returned Maxwell Standage, so he was a freshman for us back in 2021, and he led the country in ground balls. And then he went on a 2-year service mission to Ghana, and so he's back now, and he's looking good. So he just needs to shake off a little bit of rust from being away from the game.
Right.
Noah Brager is an incoming freshman on defense. It's looking great, kind of a little bit more mature freshman, so he's doing really well. Brad Howell's back. He was the first team all conference defender last year. He's back. Colin Bolivo was first team all conference. He's back. I think Colin's got a good chance if he can show well in some of our big games coming up to make some noise, get some postseason accolades. Marcus Davis, another one who's showing really well. He was all conference in the KCAC 2 years ago. And we moved him back to defense. And so, he should be very disruptive. And Pete Street is senior, and I think he's hungry to go out on a good note.
Well, like you just said, y'all bring back a ton of production, a lot of great players coming back. Are there any newcomers that could step up for your squad this year?
Yeah, just Maxwell Standage, the one that we mentioned where he came back from a service mission. He'll be the big new name because he's a known commodity. And then Noah Brager on defense, he's a freshman, and he'll be starting day one. And they both helped to really upgrade our defense from what it was last year. So that should be we know our offense is a known commodity that it's only gotten better, but the defense, I think, has really tightened things up. And I think that's where, we can really show some improvement.
Because you started off 2024 season with a 29-2 win on January 31st against St. Mary's. What are some things you liked about the team offensively and defensively in a dominant win to open up the season?
Yeah, it's always tough to tell, like, hey, what are we really getting when the team, when the team you're playing, is so outmatched. But I think the differences that we saw compared to previous years is, one, just our execution level was at a completely different point than it had been in past years. Like past years, the first game, it probably would take us a quarter or a half to kind of really get the offense going. Whereas it was immediate this time, and then our shooting efficiency was really high. We had our best shooting day in program history at 47%, so that was a big thing. And then our assists, like literally, so it was of the 29 goals, like 26 were assisted. So everything was, working as an offense, and nobody was really playing hero ball or just trying to ISO and go get their own goal. And so those are really big things that I think will translate as we move forward.
Yeah, and of those 26 assists, Breck, you had eight of them in that game. What was working for you and your teammates so well in game one of the season?
Yeah, I think it's like Coach said, playing teams that are so unmatched like that, at least from an offensive perspective, I think it's focused that we try to get everybody involved. It's a lot of working the ball around and not forcing the first shot. It's really just kind of waiting for someone to spark open and then hit them with the ball and put them in a good spot to finish for us.
Nice. Coach, you travel to Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend, take on two very tough NAIA teams in Tennessee, Wesleyan and Kaiser. What do you hope to see from your team in these two big upcoming games?
Yeah, it's just to show up and put our best foot forward. These are out of conference games, and so ultimately, regardless of the result, we still have our most important goals, to be focused on as far as winning the conference outright, both in season and conference championship. But we can make a big statement, so Tennessee Wesleyan is one of the first, NAI lacrosse programs out there. They're one of the oldest and kind of most established. Coach Parker's, very well respected. They're going to be feisty. They just lost kind of a semi rivalry game that they're not going to be happy about. And so they're going to give us everything they have. And they're just extremely well coached, and we're going to have to out execute them and out effort them. And then Kaiser's the reigning national champs. They're the #1 team in the country. We played well against them last year when we played them. We matched up well. And so now it's hopefully take that confidence from that and now go show that, hey, we return more. We added great production and go make a statement. And then win or lose of both of those results, get back to work and start moving towards the conference championship.
Breck, how excited are you to play those two squads in Tennessee and maybe be in a little bit slightly warmer weather too?
Yeah, the warmer weather definitely. Tennessee, I've personally never seen them before. I know historically we have. So I'm excited for that. Just gonna go out and show what we're made of. And I think I'm more not worried, but I'm more excited for Kaiser. It's like Coach said, we played them tight last year. And I think since we kind of have that underneath us burning a flame a little bit, but we return all our guys that lost to them. So I think since we played them close, I think we all think that we're going to take them down this year. Put a number out there for them.
Nice. Breck, tell us a little bit about your lacrosse journey. When did you start playing the game and how did you end up at William Penn?
So I actually grew up playing baseball. Wasn't the best at it, and it was a slow sport for me. I like to be on the go. So I think I transitioned around like 5th or 6th grade. So not the earliest as most kids, and I think there was just like a hidden talent for me there. It kind of just clicked right away. And then for William Penn, it's close to home for me. I didn't want to go too far out of the Midwest, and it was the campus. It just felt like home. It was a nice small campus. You could find everything, and meeting the guys too on the first time down, getting to see the locker room, and saying hi to the whole team. They just really wanted to make you feel welcomed. So that's what kind of did it for me.
Very nice. Well, Coach Breck, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck this season.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.